In this evening's KX conversation, we're talking about a topic that can be considered heavy at times, but doesn't make it any less important for people and their loved ones. Talking about hospice care and palliative care. Joining me now to talk about that is Brenda Iverson from HIA Health. Brenda, thanks so much for being here.
Hi, thanks for having me.
This comes at a time when this comes with a proclamation from Governor Armstrong talking about this very topic. Tell us a little bit, for anyone who hasn't experienced something like this, a little bit about what the program is and sort of what it offers.
Yeah, so when we think about palliative and hospice care, it really is about helping somebody live their best when time might be limited. And so palliative care is really for somebody that's living with a serious illness, and it could be care that's in place for years. And it's really about, there are so many illnesses that are out there that don't have a cure, and yet we're going to live with that for many years. Let's live our best. And so having palliative care alongside medicine works really, really well for that. And then we look to hospice care when life expectancy is becoming shorter and transition from palliative over to hospice care, where you have a team of people that are helping, from physical symptoms and emotional and spiritual support. So it's just so important. It's really about that last stage of life and living during that time.
The entire message behind it, to where a lot of this focus has become, even in the last few decades, of not so much find the person a bed or a room somewhere, really the focus of we'll come to you and make it the best we possibly can for the time that the person has. How much has that, can you explain how far that's come and even what's offered? Because obviously there is medical technology and some of the equipment that's, simple to move into a home kind of a thing, but what are you finding from families, even from feedback of how well this has been working out?
What people are surprised of is when the team came to me and when there was a shift in how I wanted to live, making that shift from curative in and out of the hospital and focusing on what matters most and being at home, people start to sometimes feel better. And so it's interesting to talk to families about what that looks like, because you shift to what matters most right now, and that includes everybody. That includes all the family, the loved ones. And so our organization, as an independent nonprofit, we served our first patient in 1981. And so when we think about what that's looked like since 1981, there's a hospice benefit that's there, and it's really meant to serve anybody with where they call home. We have served people in a group home, we've served under a bridge, we have served in their residential home, nursing home, assisted living. It really is about wherever somebody calls home and remaining where they want to be in the time that's left.
It's kind of a variety of options depending on the person's circumstances as well. Along with that too, and doing what you can to create a little bit less stress for the loved ones and the family and the friends and things like that. How well has that worked out? Are you finding a lot of that, of just if you focus and treat the person as best you possibly can and allow them a comfortable setting, how much easier does that make it for the family?
The person that's being served is always worried about their family members. How are they going to be after I pass? When loved ones know that they're not alone during that time, and that they have a team alongside them saying, okay, here's what's happening now, and here's what we should plan for, what you should anticipate happening, and that they're not on that journey alone, they feel supported. They are getting the support that they need, even if they're maybe grieving already a loss that hasn't taken place. And to know that there is going to be grief support for that person and those families for up to 13 months after the loss of their loved one. It is one of the few things in this life that we can do, that we can make a difference in their memories for the rest of their days. And so it's quite a privilege that we have.
People often think about this as far as what you need to do to, frankly, get your house in order. And there's some things you can do. You can get started with a will. It might mean a phone call and start to prepare paperwork and things like that. But for anyone who's curious about something like this, and you hope that they won't have to think about it until you absolutely have to, but a little preparation goes a long way. What's the first step that people should take if this is starting to become a reality for them?
Yeah, call. We need to have these conversations long before you need our services. And so when maybe there's a new diagnosis, maybe it's congestive heart failure, for example, that should be a time when you are sitting down with your loved ones and saying, this is how I want to live. This is where I want to live. This is what I want it to look like. Those conversations should happen soon, and you may not need the help coming in for years. And so that's the first thing. We think of the holidays coming forward and families gathering at the tables. You know what? This is an important conversation to have long before you need the help or the service coming in, because when we do that, you get the help not in a crisis. You get the help when it's more proactive and more planful, and you're a part of that decision versus that crisis of now someone's hospitalized and maybe hours to the rest of their life. And while we do that, and we do that every day, we know we can make a bigger impact for families when we serve sooner.
And almost no one likes to make a decision under heavy stress. That's not always easy.
Right.
Our guest once again is Brenda Iverson, talking about hospice and palliative care. It may be worth some helpful information or a phone call for anyone at home. Brenda, I want to thank you so much again for being here.
Thank you, Joel.